There are a lot of people out there that are a little confused about the Nintendo Wii. You'll hear people say, that console's for little kids. Oh, it's just for the families. Guess what? In today's episode, we're going to tell you that the Nintendo Wii might be one of the best consoles to play in the month of October. Some of these games are pretty freaking gory. What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Starla by Big Grove Brewery. It's a double hazy IPA.
All right, you know the drill. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss one of our bi-weekly uploads. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's get a little bloody and gory on the Nintendo Wii.
Gaming Off the Grid.
There's not many things that bring my piss to a boil as much as when people say the Nintendo Wii is not for gamers. I think it's a very misunderstood console. There are some bangers. Today's episode we're going to focus on ones though that are awesome to play in October, and they're not all survival horror games.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different genres, styles, but they're all great for October, and some of these, I can guarantee you right now, are not for families, not for kids.
Yeah.
But as gamers, they are badass.
Yeah, so, and even some of these I maybe would even dare to say there's some hidden gems, and I think the first one we're going to talk about is a game that maybe flew under a lot of people's radar. It's a true joy to play. Deadly Creatures.
Okay, this game is not a survival horror game per se, but it's creepy because I am not a fan of bugs, and half the game you play is a freaking spider.
Yeah.
So you play as a spider and a scorpion.
You
and
alternate missions, right?
It's really cool, and the mechanics are really sweet. It's motion, obviously, because it's the Wii. It's such a cool game. It's creepy because you're playing as bugs, but I mean, this game you can play any time of the year. It's just really sweet.
Yeah, I love some of the boss battles in this. It doesn't take long to, I think, suck you into this game. It's no pun intended. But the first boss battle that you get to with that rattlesnake is so cool. The controls are very awesome. The way you have to dodge him to get him to, hit those cactus, and then you've got to attack his rattler as it dangles down. You beat that mission, then you get to play as the scorpion.
Which plays different. There's different play styles, and the more you play, you unlock different things you can do, like the spider can shoot webs later on.
So it's kind of a level up mechanic.
Yeah, it's really sweet.
The premise of this game is basically you're figuring out or living out the story of why this gas station owner blew up his gas station. I think it was something Scruggs or something to that effect.
Well, the deadliest creature in this whole goddamn desert is that bastard George Scruggs. He can rot in that hospital for all I care.
You don't know why he did, but you're playing out the events that lead up to him doing that. And the final boss battle, if you will, is really funny. You kind of have to attack a man's genitalia as a scorpion.
It's really sweet, and it's kind of a collectathon game too, because there's these little like armadillos and things to increase your health that you can find throughout the map. It's kind of open world-esque, kind of, but it's driven. It's
I mean,
really
those
sweet.
Little like, what are they? The larvae, the little like cocoon
I don't
things.
know. They look like armadillos, but they're obviously not.
But anyway, I think this game is really cool. It's really good voice acting in this one. You have Billy Bob Thornton and Dennis Hopper.
I did not know that. I was like, dude, I know that voice from somewhere. It's all good. It's good old Billy Bob.
THQ, Deadly Creatures. I think you can get this game still really cheap. Maybe even find it out in the wild. It's only a one-player game. I do kind of wish there'd been a battle component or something.
That would have been sweet.
But this just screams October. It gets you in the mood. If you've been watching any type of horror-related films, not a horror game, but just playing as bugs is just kind of like, ugh.
It's gross. It makes my skin crawl. Now, the next game isn't survival horror either, but it's so gory. It's so bloody. But it's in black and white, and the only color is blood. Dude, you feel like a badass when you play this game, and that's Mad World. I think we've talked about this before on the channel, but holy crap, this is a Sega game. It's cartoon, comic book style-esque.
Kind of has like a Sin City vibe to me.
Sin City
I don't know
vibe,
if you get that,
kind of like mixed with Smash TV, because it's like televised kind of. You're just like this badass that goes around killing people. He has a chainsaw hooked to his arm so you can do all these crazy kills.
Yeah, and the television host basically walks you through the game and wants you to get specific type of kills for like the
For
TV
points.
show.
Yeah,
the
for
points,
points.
help increase the ratings of the show, I'm
God,
guessing is the
it's
premise.
such a simple game, but when you're killing people in the blood, I was like, oh my, I was having a blast playing this, dude. I love
There's
this
so
game.
many cool things. I love the kills where you like trap a guy in a tire and then take a sign
and
like through
stab
his
it through his
head.
face.
Oh.
Not for kids. Rated R, rated M actually, because that's how video games work. But dude,
Yeah,
it's badass, and I want to be this guy, dude. He's so cool.
Yeah.
Besides the killing part,
They,
that would be frowned upon.
Some of the commentary too, they say some really funny stuff. I can't really think of any of them off the top of my head, but he's like, that sucks more than my wife did on the Pizza Boy last night.
Yeah,
You know,
it's just
stuff like that.
That's just while you're beating killing people.
Yeah.
It's just commentary, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
It is. It's a very raunchy, just bloody, gory mess. Probably not good for the little ones, but Mad World, a lot of you have probably heard of that one, but if you haven't, what are you doing? It's an awesome game to play. Great October game.
Once they start to stumble like that, you can do any fucked up thing you want to them. Same principle as roofies. You're a sick puppy.
Another game that we feel is really good for October, ours happens to be autographed by Ernie Hudson, no big deal. Ghostbusters, the video game. In this game, I think a lot of people have heard of the Ghostbusters video game. They just had the remake come out on PS4, I believe Xbox One, maybe even the Switch. And I think a lot of people have played a version of this game, but the Wii version is very unique as it's more cartoon-based.
Yes, it is.
Still same voice acting, still essentially is...
The third movie.
Yeah, this one just has a little different charm. I really enjoy both versions of the game, but for some reason, this seems to be the one I'd care to go back and play.
Well, I like that one too because of the way it looks, like the cartoony aspect, you know?
And I was a big fan of the Ghostbusters cartoon growing up. Now, this doesn't really tie into that in any sort of way, but I just kind of like the art style in this game. But any way that you can play this Ghostbusters, which is essentially, like you mentioned, the third movie, whether that be on PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, I think you just owe it to yourself, if you're a Ghostbusters fan, to play these. But it's a really unique experience, exclusive to the Wii, because the art style is completely different.
Yeah, and this is a game that would be great for families, for kids, because it's not, super bloody. It's just Ghostbusters. So if you want to get the family together with the Wii, check out Ghostbusters, the video game. It's a lot of fun.
It is. It's totally fun, and it's co-op, so there's a good co-op element too.
Now let's move on to a game that you should probably put the kids to bed before they play this, because it freaks me out, dude. So this game is available on other consoles, but I think it thrives on the Wii with the motion because of the flashlight. And that is Silent Hill Shattered Memories. Oh my god, so everyone knows the Silent Hill franchise. This game is cool because it's a Silent Hill game, but there's no attack mechanic. All you have is the flashlight and your cell phone.
So it's not really like a survival horror, it's more of an adventure horror.
It's an adventure horror.
That makes any
because
sense.
when there's bad guys, you either have to hide or run. And literally, the Wii motion, it's like this is your flashlight, so it's spooky, dude. You're like, oh, it's scary, man.
The atmosphere in this game, so I think this game was also on the PSP and the PS2.
Yep.
And you guys know, obviously, from a technology standpoint, maybe the texturing on the PS2 was a little muddy. This game looks gorgeous. I think there was some negative press or reviews regarding this game because it does break the mold, if you will, for Silent Hill. But basically, the premise of this game, it's almost Silent Hill 1.
Yeah, they kind of redid Silent Hill 1, but it's different.
You're seeing a psychiatrist, and then you kind of bounce back and forth to the events of Silent Hill 1. A lot of them run parallel with the Silent Hill 1 story. There are a few different characters and a few different things that I don't recollect. Now, it's been 15 years probably since I played Silent Hill 1, but that I don't recollect from that game. But the Shattered Memories is kind of what's going on. You're telling the psychiatrist and reliving those memories of those events of Silent Hill 1. So I think if you are like new to the Silent Hill series and maybe you miss Silent Hill 1 altogether,
This would be a great way to start.
yeah, it wouldn't be a bad way to get going.
And here's what's really cool about this game is they learn how you play, which is terrifying. So like at the beginning, you fill out this data sheet, and that kind of depends how you play. And then based on how you react with the elements and stuff, it changes and adapts with how. So that's the replay value is insane because of that reason.
Yeah, and so it's a psychological evaluation. It's asking some pretty deep cutting questions, and that's determining who your character is, which is unique. From what we've read, now we have not played through and answered all the different questions. We've just played through the game with our initial deal. I don't know that the outcomes would change much, but certain things throughout the game will be a little different.
Just like the elements and the bad guys, they'll like look a little bit different. It's very cool how they did that because a lot of games don't really have that adaptive feel,
Yeah, and I think they could have maybe expanded on that a bit more, but nonetheless, this is a really, really good Silent Hill game. It's very different than the other Silent Hills, like I had already mentioned, but with that being said, I've only beaten 1, 2, And this game, I haven't played 3 and 4. So for me, it was kind of a nice change of pace.
And it's just a lot of fun. And I have to emphasize again, dude, playing it on the Wii with this as your flashlight is terrifying, dude.
Eyes peeled
terrifying
the whole time.
It's such a good game to play during this time of the year.
Moving right along, we've got Obscure, the Aftermath. It's an Ignition game.
Yes.
You guys probably, I think, most people know of Obscure, like on the original Xbox and PS2.
Which is a great game.
This happens to be the sequel, and this is a 2-player adventure, or it can be, doesn't have to be. I've always felt like these games have that teen movie horror aspect. Kind of cheesy. I think this game, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just because maybe the other game hasn't dated the best. If I had to pick up and play one of the two, I would rather go with this one. I don't know how you feel about that.
I feel the same way too. It could be because this one's a little bit more modern.
Yeah, that first one, it's fun, but I remember we played through it last year, and it wasn't until we got really ingrained in the story that we started having fun, because some of the tech in it was just like, dude, this is rough.
It's rough.
And you don't feel as much like that with Obscure, the Aftermath on the Nintendo Wii. And again, anytime you can play a co-op survival horror game,
that just makes it better.
Yeah. So anyway, this game, I don't know on the value. I know the last game we talked about, Silent Hill Shattered Memories, is starting to go
that's going to be
up.
a pricey game.
I think this is still relatively affordable.
Yeah, I would say so. And just keep your eyes open, guys. I know hunting season might be closed for a lot of people. It is in our area now. But thrift stores and stuff, if you find any of these games for cheap, pick them up. Huge emphasis on that. Now, I'm going to lump the next 3 together because they're in the same universe, I'd say, or the same genre. Yeah. And we've actually talked about these before because we love our railguns, our shooters on the Wii. Yep. And that is Resident Evil.
There's a ton of ways to get your Resident Evil fix on the Wii.
So we got Res 4, which is awesome. Then we have Resident Evil, the Umbrella Chronicles, and the Dark Side Chronicles.
Cool part about this is you can play these games on any other console for the most part. I shouldn't say any other console. Res 4, you know where you can play that. PS2, GameCube, the Wii, and that's already on the modern consoles as well. Res 4 is. The Umbrella Chronicles and Dark Side, they are also on the PlayStation 3. In North America, they didn't get a physical release, so it's digital download only. So if you're wanting like those HD textures and stuff, that might be more your route. If you're wanting your physical copies, these still look great on the Nintendo Wii. Res 4, the Wii edition, is unique in the sense that you've got to use the motion controls for your shooting, and a lot of people really, really like that. There's a lot of people out there that still say this is the best version of the game. These other two are more your on-rail type shooters. Now,
which is badass.
You can just play it that way, but it's ideal to have a nunchuck because there is a look mechanic, and you can get some items and things like that. But these games, to me, stand out as epic Resident Evil experiences that I think a ton of people have missed, and I think we just found the Dark Side Chronicles, another version of it, or another copy of it at a thrift store. I think it was like $2.49.
Yeah, guys,
they're out there.
They're everywhere, and I think people were like, "Oh, Resident Evil, but it's with motion." And no, thank you, guys. Don't sleep on these. They're awesome, especially these two with the railgun,
light gun style.
Yeah, we love them. Speaking of that, the game that started the whole channel and this series.
We can't talk about enough.
We've talked about these at nauseam, but you can't go through October and not play these. And that's House of the Dead, okay?
Yeah, so House of the Dead Overkill was unique to the Wii for a little while. It has since got a version on the PS3,
which is uncut, and there's more scenes. It kind of looks better, but I prefer the Wii version.
Yeah, and this game is probably the most bizarre. Just some of the stuff they say is just almost like, I mean, you can't say that. And they do. This game's total grindhouse, total atypical House of the Dead universe. This is not like any other House of the Dead game.
The story, dude, is messed up.
It is. If you're into grindhouse movies, I think this is a great October game because you kind of are going through a cinematic adventure, and it's a light gun, rail shooter.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite games to play co-op of all time.
Oh, dude, it's badass. And especially once you have everything unlocked and playing through it again, it's just so much fun. I love this game.
Then if you're more of a traditionalist, you've got House of the Dead 2 and 3 Returns, which are epic versions of the game. Again, anytime you're playing light gun games on the Wii, those traditional light gun fans, you know it's more of a point and shoot. Yeah. It's not a real light gun. But for those folks that maybe don't have a Sega Dreamcast with the Mad Catz light gun or whatever it is, this is a great way for you to be able to experience the games on the cheap.
We got one game left to talk about, but let's talk about this. Starla by Big Grove. This is a double hazy IPA. This is the second Star Wars beer they've done, so that's why on the can it says Episode 2.
Yeah, somebody is a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, and I love it.
And Big Grove Brewery has been around for a little while. I think we were pretty lukewarm on them initially. But with these IPAs and a couple other brews we've had, I think they're really kind of catching their stride.
Yep, they're figuring out what they're...
cool to see a young brewery, kind of work their way to making some good beers. Because I remember when they first came onto the scene, we'd pick up a little bit of everything that they'd put out. And every time I felt like we were like...
It's not quite there yet. Yeah.
I think this is a pretty good hazy IPA. I mean, I'm not going to say it's the best, but this is a really good beer.
This is not the best hazy IPA I've ever had, but this is enjoyable. This is refreshing. This is a beer for the masses. I feel like a lot of people would enjoy this. And since it's a double hazy IPA, there's not that many hops flavors, It's a lot smoother. It's kind of cloudy. This is just a great beer. This should be a great summer beer. I know it's October.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be drinking pumpkin beers, but we can do whatever we want. So we're drinking an IPA right now.
We were just walking through the store and we're like, oh man, we haven't seen that before.
Yep.
Gotta have it.
This is so good, and this might be a beer that I keep picking up.
Yeah.
Because it's really good.
It's very drinkable for sure. Okay, last game is another game I think we've roughly talked about. This maybe is a little bit survival horror-esque, but it's also a first-person shooter. It's also on rails in this version of the game, which if you're a fan of Dead Space, I think you owe it to yourself to play Dead Space Extraction.
What a great game.
On rails, Dead Space universe. You know that Dead Space got a lot of jump scares. It's just kind of a freaky environment. Again, not a true survival horror game, but very good for the month of October.
We revisit this game all the time,
Yeah.
dude. It's just so much fun.
And it's got 2-player, which is awesome, which is why we play it a lot. And there is a version of this on the PS3. I think you've got to get the Dead Space... Is it Dead Space 2, Deluxe Edition?
Yeah, and then it comes with it. It's like an add-on game.
Yeah, and so we have that, but we haven't had a chance to play it on the PS3. So this is the only version of the game we know. But the next time we play through it and beat it, it's going to be on the PS3.
Yep.
But guys, on the Nintendo Wii,
You can't go wrong.
this is all more of your horror type October friendly games. But this is just the tip of the iceberg of games that I think true gamers, which I am guilty. When I was in college, we got a Wii, and I totally was just like, other than Donkey Kong Country Returns, the Mario Galaxy games, I was just like, you know what? I was all about the PS3. I was throwing shade at the Nintendo Wii. And as I've got older and stopped being so picky and finicky and cynical, if you will.
Cynical, dude.
Yeah, I love this console. I absolutely love this
in the past
console.
3 years, I'm the same way. I had a Wii growing up. I used to use it for Wii Sports. I would play Rock Band on it all the time. But that was it. And it was a family console to me. But man, dude, ever since we started the channel and the light gun games, all the games we find for it, I'm like, oh my god, there's this game, there's this game, there's this game. This is 11 games that we have in our collection that are October themed.
I don't know about you, but growing up, obviously you probably had friends with the Wii. I did as well.
Yep.
I don't recall any of my friends having any of these games.
Nope.
That wasn't
I didn't
what
know about them.
People weren't picking this stuff up. They were getting it out of their consoles. But the Wii, it can scare the shit out of your little butthole in the month of October, so don't sleep on it. Many of these games can be found on the DL. They are super cheap. They're not going to break the bank. You're not going to have to tell the missus, oh, I spent all my money on video games, because that's never good. Guys, we always appreciate you tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Keep gaming, keep drinking, and enjoy this month of October with some awesome horror-related video games on the Nintendo Wii. There's not many things that bring my piss to... There's not many things that bring my piss to a
Pistol.
What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking Starla Hazy IPA. Yep, Starla. Hazy double. Starla. Hazy Starla by Big Grove. That's right. Starla by Big Grove.
And a lot of these games can be got on the DL, so they're not going to hurt your freaking wallet, which is always important.
Yeah, that's super nice.
We always appreciate you tuning in, subscribing to the channel. Many of these games can be got on the DL, so they're not going to break the bank. They're not going to empty out your wallet like that freaking hooker on 5th Street.
Ooh, let's not talk about her.
I shouldn't say that.